So, how do you name molecules? We have all sorts of chemical formulas, but we usually don't want to just actually say a chemical formula out loud. We want to have a name for a molecule. So, let us get started. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is the name of every atom is on the periodic table. Every little box has an atom with its symbol, which goes in the formula, and its name. But we just don't throw those names together because sometimes you don't have the same number of atoms in a molecule. So let me start out by just simply starting with a system of prefixes. Prefixes are things that start at the beginning of the word. So we'll start out with we will start out, this is not the marker I was using. Oh, the marker I was using is in my pocket. So, we'll start out with mono. Mono is 1. Di is 2. Tri, as in tricycle or triangle, is 3. Tetra is 4. Penta is 5. Hexa is 6. They do go on. We're not going to go much farther than that because anything beyond that is very rare. So, in fact, anything really beyond tetra is very rare in a molecule. But we have the ability to name things, infinitum. But let's start out with a very, very, very common molecule. You may have heard of CO2, carbon with 2 oxygen. Well, if you wanted to write that out, you got 1 carbon, you would say, you probably know this as carbon dioxide. Technically, it should be monocarbon dioxide, but usually, if it's just 1, we just leave it out. You should say that. We never do. We never do. Now, if you just have CO, that's carbon monoxide. That's one of the weird exceptions. And we say carbon, it should be monocarbon monoxide. Now, one of the reasons why we say mono here, for example, if I said something like beryllium, this is beryllium monoxide. Most of the time, they wouldn't even say it. They wouldn't say monoxide. They would just say beryllium oxide. If they don't say otherwise, you usually just assume it's mono. The only reason we say mono with carbon monoxide is because carbon dioxide is so common. We just, are constantly dealing with carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. That's why we say monoxide. Normally, we wouldn't bother. Normally, if there's just 1 of something, after all, there's only 1 carbon here. Usually don't say anything, but sometimes I do. But I'm getting a little distracted. Let's go forward here. So, all right, here's another formula for something I'm sure you've seen before. H2O. Well, there's 2 hydrogens, so that would be dihydrogen monoxide. Now, by the way, if you said dihydrogen oxide, that's fine. Unless you say otherwise, people usually assume it's 1. But people like to say dihydrogen monoxide. It makes it sound much more dangerous. Dihydrogen monoxide. It's water. That's all it is. It's just water. Here's something. How about hematite? Hematite is a very common rock. It's what makes Mars red. It's Fe2O3. So this would be diiron trioxide. So far so good. 2 iron, so di, iron. 3 oxygen, trioxide. Let's see, do I have enough room on this board? I appear to have enough room on this board. I'm going to give you a very bizarre molecule that you almost never run into because it's mostly used for making nuclear weapons. But here we go. Okay, here we go. UF6. Now, there's only one uranium, so normally we would say, officially we should say monouranium, but if there's only one, if you don't say anything, you just assume it's one. So it's uranium. 6 is hexafluoride. Now that, by the way, we'll learn more about that one. It's very important for making nuclear weapons, and hopefully I hope to explain that at some point, how to do that. But I think you're starting to see how it works. Now, by the way, more complicated molecules get more complicated to name. We're just covering the basics. It's only an introduction to physical science. But there's a whole IUPAC system of naming molecules, and if somebody gives a chemical name of some complex drug, a chemist can visualize that drug. A chemist can write the formula based on the name. But we're not going to get that complicated anywhere yet. Just got to remember, say the name of the atom in the molecule, and then use a prefix to say how many of each atom is in the molecule. It's a good place to start. Anyway, bye-bye.